Warning, this video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I think we're going to be focusing a little bit on sentiment, and hopefully you're going to enjoy this one. First of all, okay, Bitcoin's having another little correction here, and we just liquidated $110 million from the cryptocurrency market in the past hour. So pretty wild, okay? And I think I've said this a few times before, the beatings will continue until people learn to manage risk. All the time people keep going all in and trying to snipe the lows and going 100x leverage, then you're just a sitting duck waiting to be taken out, waiting to be liquidated so that the bigger players can stack your Bitcoin and hold it for the long term. I know the sentiment out there at the moment is very reflective of this tweet right here. This is the worst bull run of all time. And I'm seeing a lot of people say this in the comments. I'm seeing in general a lot of people out here thinking that somehow this is the most terrible bull run ever. And frankly, I think a lot of people really needed to manage their expectations, because the people that have been here a long time, the people that have traded through multiple cycles, know, objectively speaking, this is number one, the easiest bull run we've ever had to deal with. And number two, it's actually the best performing. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you that in just a moment. OV Crypto here points out that everyone is crying, Bitcoin is boring, it's not moving, whereas the stock market is ripping. Meanwhile, okay, the facts are the facts and the data is the data. Since the 2022 bottom, Bitcoin has given a 279% return. Meanwhile, the Nasdaq has done 65%, the S&P 40%, and in 2024 until today, Bitcoin has given you 41%, which is 2x what the stock market has done. So again, I think people need to manage expectations. I'm not really sure if people thought they could just show up to market, buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and be driving a Lamborghini in 3 weeks. But people are frankly acting a little bit spoiled, as OV Crypto points out right here, okay? Do you really deserve the next wave? Whilst I'm here, big shout out to OV Crypto, okay? OV Crypto keeping it real, and if you're not following him, I really suggest you do. OV Crypto was the account that pointed out to me that we are drawing incredible parallels, technically speaking, to the 2007 Nasdaq top. It was OV Crypto that pointed out here was a shakeout on the second angle violation, looking for that third to come in. And so far, that appears to be what's going on. So do go and give OV Crypto a follow. When I said earlier, okay, that people are being a bit spoiled and not managing expectations, and indeed, that we are outperforming previous cycles, okay, that was not me being hyperbolic or speculating or lying or anything like that. This is absolutely the truth of the matter, okay? Here we are in pink above the prior cycles. So if you think this has been a tough cycle, if you think this has been a boring cycle, then unfortunately, you just haven't been here long enough. Even with the sideways range, which is admittedly quite a wide range, with somewhere in the neighborhood of 24K as a range at the moment, between, what is it, like 50K and 74-ish K. I admit that since March, we've been chopping around and doing a whole heap of nothing, and that is quite frustrating. But again, perspective is key. Zooming out lets us know that as it stands, Bitcoin continues to do Bitcoin things. Not to mention, the current setup for 2024 is the same as 2023, but it's 1 month behind. And this has been going a little too smoothly. So yet another local high is lining up with 2023 blue arrows I'm going to show you in a minute. Now, we're just waiting on the next local low, all building up to a September recovery. So taking a look at the left, okay, we've gone February into March, April into June, July into August, August to September, and then in October, we ripped. And all we are today is the exact same structure, but 1 month earlier. So instead of going Feb into March, we went Jan into the end of Jan, then we went March into May, June to July, July to August. And so far, if I clean this chart up a little bit, okay, look at what's going on here. Even with the current pullback, Incredibly similar to what went on here before Bitcoin ripped higher in October. This would tell us, since we're 1 month behind the last time we did this, whilst everyone is looking at September and saying September is a seasonally weak month for Bitcoin, the charts as they currently sit tell us to keep an open mind about seeing September do the unthinkable, and September indeed be a month that we rip higher and finally leave this range. I'm also seeing a lot of these kind of bull flag targets, and bull flags can fail to the downside, okay? We don't have to have a bull flag that breaks to the upside. But on a log scale, the measured move target, using this pole and extrapolating out from the breakout level, okay, gives us a 250k-ish target. And if that sounds a bit wild, I understand, but if you do this on regular scale, we still get to about 93, 95-ish k. So that's not too bad. I don't think people would be too disappointed if we can get a move up towards 100k, or let's say 93k. And like I said earlier, bull flags can break to the downside. They can fail. We could see something like this occur and then a rollover. But generally speaking, if we can indeed get that push in line with the last chart I showed you in here, if we can get this October to repeat in the month of September, then we just might have a chance at seeing some further upside for Bitcoin. Not to mention, when we take a look at the halvings, okay, each one of these reds is the halving event, as you can see. Notice what happened. I'll get my magnifying glass. We don't use this often enough, okay? Halving event, what do we get? A post-halving shakeout and a bit of chop before then ultimately Bitcoin resumes to the upside. Similar deal here, okay? We get the halving, we get a bunch of ranging, a bit of chopping, a big Bart Simpson pattern, and then ultimately Bitcoin goes on to do Bitcoin things. And here we have another halving event. And at the hard right edge, what have we done? We have spent a great deal of time chopping around, winding everyone up, ruining people's expectations that were likely way too bullish, which tells me at least to keep an open mind about seeing resumption to the upside in the not too distant future. Furthermore, take a look at this when we make comparisons to prior cycles, okay? We went 4x from here to here and then 10x in the insane mode in the final blow off top portion of Bitcoin's rally. We did the same thing here. From the lows to just before we went parabolic, we did a 4x followed by a 7x off of the breakout level into that near vertical push for Bitcoin. And today we've done the 4x off the lows. And even if we go from 10x to 7x to 4x here, that still puts us at 250k. I'm not saying it will happen, I'm just saying, again, I think people should be a little bit more open to seeing further upside for Bitcoin until proven wrong. We also have a great deal of inflows coming into BlackRock. Okay? BlackRock's ETF saw 3,500 Bitcoin purchased when only 450 Bitcoin are being mined per day. The question is, are we seeing rotation? Are we seeing a bunch of people that were holding the ETF now selling out, taking their profits, locking down what was about 100% gain since the ETF launch, and those people having to rebalance their portfolios so they're not so overweight Bitcoin? And is that rotation moving towards people that are looking to hold the ETF and thus that have their exposure to spot Bitcoin for the long term? Another question I have here is, are we seeing retail be distributed on at the top? Are we seeing your uncle, for example, come in and buy Bitcoin at the top via the ETF in his pension account or his ISA or whatever else? And are the institutions using this ETF to distribute to these new retail, like our uncles? Remember, 100% for institutions is unheard of, is unseen. They don't often get 100%. So it makes sense that if they bought the ETF at the launch, we got that double, they are going to need to be rebalancing their portfolio. And if they are rebalancing towards newer institutions, it is likely those institutions are going to need to see return on their investment and thus continued markup. So what we're going to do now is overlay the Wyckoff distribution schematic and the accumulation schematic over the current price action and just see which one fits. So first of all, here is the distribution schematic. Is this what we're experiencing? Are we at the sign of weakness now before we get the markdown into phase E? Is this what's coming next? Or do you think the following looks and fits better? Is this, rather than the sign of weakness before the resumption down into phase E, is what we're looking at right now a spring before we start to continue to squeeze up, move up here into the SOS, the sign of strength, before then breaking out into a markup campaign into phase E? Once again, I'll let you be the judge. I'll let you decide which one you think fits better. One thing I do know is we are right in the timing window to see a 4-hour cycle low show up for Bitcoin any minute now. We're right in that timing window. We've got price hitting both the fork and horizontal support with hidden bullish divergence. So any low here, and I think we've made it since this tweet was posted, we should be looking to see a swing and a reversal and the start of a new 4-hour cycle. That should give us something like 10 daily candles up into a half cycle high on the daily time frame before a decline into the half cycle low. Zoom out, remember to manage expectations. We are indeed outperforming all prior cycles. If this pattern is to repeat, then we will see a bullish September right after the shakeout. We have, if we can get a breakout, still got massive upside targets, and what we've been doing post-halving is no different to any other halving event. For now, I remain cautiously optimistic as always. Until invalidation occurs, then it's a long and strong situation from me. One thing I am noticing in the charts is gold, I think, is right around that timing window now where we should see a decline into a daily cycle low. As I've been saying over and over again, that for me represents an opportunity to get long. Silver is right in that neighborhood where it should probably see a half cycle low in the not too distant future. We're on something like day 15. So yeah, any kind of shakeout here I think should resolve to the upside. For the stock market, we're still kind of trading around and holding above all the support levels. So far, happy days. I do want to see a higher high come in, as I was saying yesterday. And the NASDAQ, following this weird 2007 fractal to the tick so far. So can we get a resumption of the upside? Can we complete what would be breakout retest resumption of the downward slope in blue? And thus, can we then go on and look to set that third and final blow off top angle? Meanwhile, the Dow Jones continuing to close higher highs on a closing basis. So happy days there. And the VIX seems to be gradually, one candle at a time, moving in the direction of that cycle low. How low down it goes is anybody's guess. This is my ambitious kind of target, sub 12 and above 8, somewhere in that neighborhood for me would be fantastic, because we only have to have a couple of points as a stop if we can get down there. So as you can see so far, you know, the fractal, the stock market kind of behaving as we want it to behave, on its way down to that cycle low. Gold on its way down to that cycle low, happy days. Bitcoin getting close to that neighborhood to see a half cycle low. And so what else is there to say apart from we continue to remain cautiously optimistic, we continue to remain open to all possible outcomes. Within a few candles, we should have some answers. Either these breakouts on the stock market are going to fail, and then it's going to be time to be more defensive again, or everything is going to continue to go according to plan, and I'm even going to be looking to increase exposure and add some positions. So a nice wild time to be alive as always. If you are sitting there thinking that this has been the worst cycle of all time, then maybe recognize that you probably haven't been here for any more than one cycles, and everything is actually going pretty smoothly. If you think this cycle was hard, then I can tell you for sure the prior ones were a lot tougher to navigate. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you're doing well in life, and until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers.